Hello and welcome to the theElpyDimension. I am your guide, Elpy. This check-in this week has been really interesting. So this is day 15 in the Time for Pi series. Today is the 6th of January, late night, 2025. And this is the blue worm bin, which is about going on 3.5 months old. And again, this is the Time for Pi series. Usually we find some baby worms. There's one. Last time we checked in here was 3 days ago on the 3rd. There's 2 more right there. There's a 3rd one. I really do believe that the blue worms appreciate the bubble mailers more than the others. Okay, so the I was saying that it's been an interesting check-in. I've done 1 through 4, and they've all held wonders of their own in a really cool way. So we'll see. This one has been treated a little bit differently because I wanted this one to be more moist, and I also thought that I want them to have more food. They still had, so I fed over here like some rotten sandwiches, I think I called it, brassica sandwich. And you know why there's worms over here? Because that was where I put the new food. They still have pumpkin pie over here. I'm sure it's still there. Everyone else's is. And a pepper. But I'm like, I want this bin to be warmer, and I want them to have more food. So I gave them a whole, very rotten pear and 5 persimmons. 5 persimmons. And this bin started September 18th with 67 blue worms, and I was more than doubled on the 5th of November. And like I said, it's now the 6th of January, so fair to say there's at least 300 to 500. I'm going to say there should be. Last time I said 300 for sure, but I believe, especially since they're blue worms, that giving them this massive feeding would benefit them, especially in these colder temperatures, more than it would harm them. Feels a little bit warmer already. Maybe I'm just wishfully thinking, but you saw that they are over here, right? And we're going straight for, I know we're here for the Time for Pi, but since these guys are sneaky little things, I'm like, you know what, let's dive into this brand new 3-day-old feeding area. Nobody else has been fed again since Time for Pi, except for these guys now. And I did puncture all of the persimmons. I also added water, dry mix, and even some seed starting mix, which is potting soil, which is not soil, but it's going to be peat moss and perlite. There's vermiculite in there. And then I added paper and cardboard. And we're not seeing any worms in here, which is not a surprise at all because this feeding is only 3 days old. But we did see they were over it, right? So maybe I should, well, let's move these all together. Let's just completely move them and look to see if there are any worms starting to gather underneath. Yeah, there's a blue worm adult, so he's on the outside. Yeah, and there's another, like they're sort of casing the joint. I'm not gonna do too much more looking around, I think. So, and they are kind of, there's a few who are under it. So they're already taking interest. I'm gonna put the paper more nestled in, not just around. But that's what's nice about shredded paper, is that it kind of gets down in with the food more. All right. I'm tempted to add a little bit more dry mix. Let me see. Dry paper, I mean. That's it. It'll grow moist. I did put dry paper. Like I said, I dumped water on top of this and then put more dry paper on top. And so I want it to be wetter. It could be making a mistake by putting in more just straight dry paper, especially since the worms are showing interest in this area already. Am I being counterproductive and I'm going to turn them off by adding dry paper? I don't know. I don't think so, especially since I kind of tucked it over here. But seeing the way that fruit really gives off a lot of moisture, I think in the long run, I'm doing myself a favor. Okay, so cool. Let's just peek. This bin I have, since it's a much smaller bin, I have looked around more. Yeah, so you can already see moisture. There's a baby worm. This, sorry, I said, yeah, so you can already see, and I don't complete my thought. This is moisture from the the water I dumped in from last time, which I do want it to be more moist, but I need to keep an eye on it since I did that based on my history. Okay. This is the time for pie feeding zone, and I should have been a lot more gentle going in there just for our own viewing pleasures. But there's a younger baby worms, an adult worm, beautiful, beautiful colored blue worm. They aren't always that color. Kind of all the worms change color, but it's really, really cool to see them when they are that really vibrant blue, vibrant dark blue. Where is our pie? It's probably under here, yeah. So the pie really is taking a while to break down, but it also heats up nicely. And now that, especially this feeding and the last one, I found the worms are moving around it a lot more. So it must be that it is at a stage that they enjoy more. So this is why I was saying I know that me feeding them was like, what? Because they got celery and some pita, and for such a small population, I mean, I overfeed all my bins, but I think I did the right thing. I know I did. So they're over here. They're enjoying this feeding. Lots of young worms. And meanwhile, the other stuff is gonna start breaking down. Heat is going to be produced as a byproduct. And that's going to make them happier in this cold basement. Well, it's like 50 degrees, but still. For them, they're a tropical worm. It's not awesome. So, yeah, they're... Sorry, my arm is very much in the way. They're over here, but like I said, I believe that getting them going on another feeding and a large feeding will ultimately increase their activity. And be really good for them. But you see that they're doing good. Kind of squishy over here. I remember September 18th, I started with 67 worms. If I couldn't 100% say it was a blue worm as I was collecting it in my other bins, I didn't collect it. And they appear to be doing really, really well. Very soon after I started the bin, I saw tons of baby worms. Like wisps, like really small. It was kind of incredible. So, I think that's all I'm going to disturb these guys this time. Especially since when I stir it up, it is releasing heat. But let's put this pie back down there a little bit more. So I'm going to mush it down in there. All right. Great. So, look, one of the videos are going to be under 20 minutes. This bin was fed 3 days ago. For their population size, you would say they still have plenty. Heck, that's what you say about all my bins. Baby worm alert. But they needed the feeding I gave them 3 days ago. They need it for the temperature, which would be a good idea to add a high nitrogen source like coffee, or even bring in some rice or something to help heat up the bin, something starchy that would heat up the bin more quickly if I'm like, I need to heat up the bin. You know, I could also get like a heat mat and stuff, but I'm not, at this stage, I'm not doing that with my bins. Maybe one day I will. But instead, I added fruit a lot and more paper and cardboard, and I think that was perfect. And I am not afraid to call myself out on making a bad move. All right, sweet. By the time this is posted, you will be able to see 1 through 4 for the 15-day post-pie feeding. And I highly encourage you to check those out. Not just because I want you to watch my videos, but also because they're really interesting. If you're like, look, just tell me just which one's the best. Check out number 2. Worm bin number 2 on the 6th of January 2025, post pie day 15. That's probably the best one this week. Number 4 was an interesting development, but number 1 is always great. And number 3 is looking good. I mean, I could tell you reasons why they were all pretty cool videos, but if you can only watch one outside of this one, check out number 2. Okay, we'll be back in here in 3 or 4 days. So on the 9th or 10th of January 2025, we will do, so that's going to be an 18 or 19 day post-pie check-in. Excellent. And all the bins have different chores that they, you know, if I keep talking, I'll probably be able to make this a 20-minute video. Anyways, they're all in a place now to where I'm like, okay, we need to, I need to start moving towards a couple of them. I need to be thinking about moving them towards harvest. All right, let's see if we can stop this before 15 minutes. Thank you so much for your time and your interest. If you enjoyed this video, let me know. Hit the thumbs up button, and I'd love to hear what you think in the comments. And if you'd like to follow along with my journey, hit the subscribe button. It's free. And the notification bell to receive notifications when I post new videos. Thank you so much for your time and your interest. Be safe. Be well. Bye for now.